Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's session on leadership. I'm sure you all have heard this term and have very often used it in your own life also. And I cannot say that you have been using it in a wrong way. I'm sure you are using it in the right way. But today, as a student of management, you need to understand a lot more and a lot more deeply. So today we are going to have this session on leadership. Okay, we I'll try not to use too many jargons and technical terms now because it's a beginner's session. And once you get acquainted with the concepts, you are going to gradually understand the concepts. And then once you learn the terms that are used with many of the concepts, once you have understood things, it will be easy. So to start with, let's say that today is a session on leadership. We are going to understand what it means in an organization mostly. And you have leaders in your social life, you had them in school, you had them in college, in your classes, in your sports arena. You had lots of places. But today, primarily, we are going to talk about leadership in an organization. Having said that, you can always use that anywhere else also, in any other place, in any other apparent model. So, question is, what is leadership? Right? So, let's understand a few definitions of leadership in a little more depth, I should say. But before that, let me outline the objectives of the entire presentation or session for today. Objectives of this session. So, as I said, first we are going to understand what is leadership. Okay. Once we have understood what is leadership, we are going to understand why is it so important in an organization. Why do they keep a leader? Then who are these leaders in an organization? They don't have a designation called a leader. So why are they there in an organization? How do you identify a leader in an organization? What are they called? Where all do they exist? So that is understanding leadership in an organization. Then we have to understand what is their importance in an organization. And then once a person develops and learns leadership skills, what are the utility of those skills in a person's individual life also? Fine. So it's going to be a parallel track. If a leader learns leadership qualities to run an organization, he can and he should use those qualities to make his life better, to give a direction to his life. So parallelly, first he should understand, we all are going to understand the importance of leadership in an organization or the role of a leader in an organization. Then gradually, the recipient of this session is going to understand and correlate and try to understand how can he or she use these qualities in his own life. So the, should I say, the role and the importance of leadership qualities that one should know and understand, imbibe and implement and apply in one's own life also, to improve the quality of the life of a person. And then next we should go with like what are the qualities required for this. As I was just saying, that qualities of a leader, no? So what are the qualities of a leader that we should talk of? What are the leadership qualities or a person should have, or which are the qualities of a leader? And then once we discover that, explore that, understand that, it's the last thing for you as a recipient of this session is to try to imbibe those qualities, develop those qualities, and then if you already have it, to polish yourself, polish those qualities which if you have it, that is for you to explore and understand, right? So here were the objectives of the session. So now, next we are going to talk a little about what is leadership, what it means, and then we try to define it also. See, in management of an organization, when somebody starts a company, he's in the owner's side, he has to run his company, look for production, and then raw material, profit, loss, and of course, one of the most important factor, labor, those who actually work and convert his dream into a reality for which he has opened a company. Okay, so all these things have to be managed. So leadership is a very important tool of management, rather one of the most important things. And we will understand further why it is one of the most important things. And then the question comes, what is leading? Leading involves, mostly it is for people. We don't lead raw material, we don't lead money, profit or loss. It's mostly the labor factor, the employees, the human resource. It's not something that we should look down, in a way, look down upon them. They are the brains that convert the employer's dream into reality. So they are very precious, they are very dynamic, they are very talented. That's why they are recruited, but they have to be managed. So there are a variety of reasons for that. So having said that, to move ahead, so a leader is a person who first gives them a direction, then he influences them psychologically to believe in that purpose and get influenced, so that their mind is set in that way, and then they are motivated so that they fall in line with the employers or the leaders goal, the goal that they have set. So these people psychologically get persuaded to believe in those goals, and so that they can start working passionately, giving their own energy and putting their own talents into it, talent, training, everything. So leader is a person who, they are recruited, they are there with their energies. So leader gives them a direction, a purpose, and then influences them to focus on the goal that the leader or his boss has set for him. Fine. And then he motivates them so that they can give their best. It is all about influencing them psychologically, but that is not cheating them, that's not something which is wrong. One should know where to put his energies, what to work for, and what to work on. He has been employed, so he gives a direction, purpose, and all that. So now the question is, who is a leader? Does he look different or something? So who is a leader? A leader is a person who influences a group of people towards achieving a common goal. Okay, so toward the achievement of a common goal, he sets them, influences them, persuades them psychologically. And apart from that, there are a few other functions, of course, that see, he mostly conceptualizes things. He's a visionary, he sees things ahead of others. Okay, so it is his, once he is logically understands that this is something which is feasible, that can be turned into a reality. Now he have to start thinking, planning to set his vision into a reality. So that is the job of a leader. That is how the world innovates. That is how civilization is moving ahead. Every day people conceptualize and then implement something new, but that needs a lot of planning. So he is somebody who translates, he conceptualizes and translates his own vision into a reality. Then he, in the course, when he makes people work on different new things, those people also work on something new, they discover something new, and so they are, should I say, they are also exploring their own potential, learning something new, expanding their own knowledge and training and experience. So the leader acts as a catalyst for that. Next is, he motivates the people to believe in these goals, in these visions, and then they first believe in, and then passionately they want to convert this leader's dream into a reality. That's very important. Okay. And then in all this doing, he helps these people learn skills, polishes their skills, and so they maximize their potential and they become more efficient than what they have been so far. So leader is also helpful in polishing their skills, knowledge, ability, enhancement of experience, as well as doing all this in the process of converting his own dream into a reality. The next slide that we have here is, as you can see, the 3 P's of leadership. This is a term, it's a very technical term that you will get to see as you start opening your books on management and other things. And the 3 P's of leadership, can you see there is a triangle? Right? On the right, there is something called person. On the left, there is something called people. And on the top, there is a purpose. Now, let me explain. This person is the one who has conceptualized. He is the leader. Okay. He is a visionary. He has seen something. Now, he is committed to that purpose. The one that he has envisaged and envisioned, rather I would say, that this is something that, and he has analyzed and he has realized this is a reality. This can be, it's feasible to convert this dream into a reality. It's not a wild dream. Okay. So he is that person and he is committed to that purpose. Now he alone cannot do it. So what has he done? He is parallelly busy influencing and convincing these people. And once these people get convinced, they are also committed to this purpose, right? So the leader conceptualizes and is committed to the goal. Then he influences other people to believe in his dream, and now they are committed. Once they are convinced, they are now committed to this goal. So these are person, people, and the purpose. These are the 3 P's of leadership. So then, as you can see, the next uh, presentation or slide that we have is role of a leader. So what does he do? We have already been talking. Just to reiterate or rather mention a few things, that there are, in management, they say there are 3 levels of management: top, medium, and lower. The lower ones communicate with the employees, those who are actually working. The middle level is basically a shunt between the lower and the upper level management. Those who are placed, they talk with the uh, should I say, the board of directors and the owners of the company, chairman, and the management committee. Okay. So they, and then you need a leader at every level because there are so many people and each one's role is defined. So let's discuss the basic minimum of the lowest one. So lowest one is the easiest and the most important to understand. That gets refined and reduced as one goes to the upper level. The number of people that they have to interact with are few and few, or fewer rather. But let's understand the basic model first. So second is that he is a representative of the organization. Whatever the organization is doing, the way they are doing, he is the one who has conceptualized it, and he is the one who has taken it to the people, those who are actually working, and then he is the one making them do the work, implementing it, executing it. So he is the representative of the organization. He is doing the things the way the organization allows him to do, asks him to do, or agrees that should be done, agrees with him. So he is doing it, the doing the things exactly the way they should be done. So he is a face of the organization, we can say. Okay. Next is, he's a person who is not selfish. He does not work only for the organization. That is something a manager does. We'll talk about it soon. He's somebody who has inspired people to fall in track with his vision and give their best to him, right? So he cannot cheat them. So why will a person continue to do this? Well, one, for money, true, but then there are other reasons also, right? So when there are other reasons, then what one should do is, I mean, motivate them in a way that they don't feel cheated. So when will they not feel cheated? When they see that when they are learning things to do something as a project for a company, they are also learning new skills for themselves. Their experience is getting increased and enhanced, and their work profile is expanding, and they are becoming more valuable with passage of time. So their individual growth is also happening, which ultimately there is a personal goal of every person also who is making a career out of working somewhere in some company. Okay. So as they are learning and working for meeting the goals of the organization, whatever they're learning on the way, that assists them in meeting their own goals also. And a leader, a proper leader, not a manager but a proper leader, should and usually takes care of those things. That they, I mean, the who should be given which kind of task. Maybe let's say, if I give an example, I'm a person who is very good at doing something and I need to learn something else. So in the next project, my leader should understand that and put me onto the next thing so that I learn the other things also. And only he knows it and he notices it, he remembers it and he understands it, and he should act accordingly to enhance my work profile, you know, and expand it, widen it. So that, I mean, I should know and learn newer things with as I grow older in an organization. I should learn newer things. So my leader should take care of those. This is just an example. There are so many other ways. The leader has to take care of the growth of every individual also, so that as I grow and work and grow for the company, I grow and gradually meet my own expectations and goals also. Because otherwise I leave the company and go, no? And the company will, I mean, miss or lose a good employee with experience and knowledge that they need. See, they would not have recruited me had they not wanted me or needed me. I'm not just talking about me, I'm talking about any employee. So I should feel personally gratified as an employee, otherwise I'll leave. So a leader has to take care of that. I gradually meet my own personal goals also. And then whenever he is asking, I mean, whenever he is asking that please come work for my goal, he's persuading and influencing the employees. So he's asking for their support to convert his dream into a reality, or the owner's dream into a reality. And as I said, he's always there to take care of the people both at knowledge level wherever they are stuck, or to boost them psychologically when their morals are low, etc. So he's like a friend, philosopher, and guide to the entire team, that is monitoring and coordination, as I just said. So now let's move on. Let's next understand, compare a little and understand about leadership and management. Okay, leadership and management, that is what we are going now. This is for the first time I want to now talk. Okay, why are we telling you leadership, leadership, leadership? What exactly are you going to? Oh, how are you going to correlate with leadership? You are going to take up a job and you are going to now you are going to work there and gradually grow in terms of position and money. That is your objective. Fair enough. So why are we talking about leadership? See, as you may join as a junior person, but with time you are going to grow in the hierarchy. Then at one point you will have to take care of your department or a team. So whether it is for a technical role, or whether you do an MBA and go for working as a marketing guy or a finance guy or an HR guy also. In whichever department you go, what you will see is that somewhere you will have to take charge of a department. So a manager by default is a leader. ठीक है. Now the question is, they don't understand the leadership things. So what they do mostly, they are just an employee. Like at the beginning, they were only taking care of their own work, and higher up, they only take care of a few other things about running the people. And then they run the people as a commodity, not as human beings. So they remain managers, an employee, narrow-minded, not very, it's a typical boss. I'm going to show you a chart very soon, a video and a chart. So typical boss is somebody who will order the people, make them do, not understand their requirements, good and bad, what makes them tick, how they will perform better, their happiness and their sorrow. He doesn't understand those things. He thinks, they're like raw material. Labor is also another component of production. He wants understanding for himself, but he does not give that to others. Okay. So if he wants to become a good manager, he will have to learn leadership skills. And if he wants to, then he wants to continue from lower level manager to middle level, and middle level to top level management. And then he should be a brand in himself. People should know him, not for the organization he works for, but for himself, how good a manager he is. And he can call the shots. He can be the right hand person of the owner of the company. And he can think of even bigger things for himself, as I was talking of, individual goals, reaching them also. That is why a person starts his career. So he has to learn the individual qualities of a leader. But a leader is a leader. He can be a new employee in the company, a junior one. He doesn't need a designation or a post. A manager is given a job to run or look after a department. He does it for the post, he does it for the salary. But a leader can be anywhere in the games, in the, farmers, the union of farmers, they also have a leader, somebody who shows them the way, motivates them, gives them some purpose and direction. So a leader is not he need not be an employee. Even if he is an employee, he need not be a senior employee. Anybody who has a vision and can inspire others to join in his goal is a leader at any level. He doesn't need a post, and may not get a salary for being a leader. Fine. आगे चल के if he is doing well and people appreciate his qualities, recognize it, and they give him a promotion and an official charge, fine. But from here you should know that when you work and as you grow, you will be taking care of a team, irrespective of your senior manager, senior officer, whatever the names or the designation as per your department is. If you are taking care of a team, you are a leader. So if you are only a manager, you're not doing your job well. You will not grow well. If you want to grow, you want to be happy, you want to give happiness to others, you want it to be a win-win thing. From here you should understand why we are giving you this session, that you should learn leadership skills and start imbibing, inculcating and practicing and polishing them right from day one when you start working. Even as a student you can do it amongst yourself. As I said, for leadership you don't need to start or wait to join a company, right? I have already given you an idea. Now I'll show you a video. Okay. And I don't need to tell you, it compares that how a manager perceives about the lever and how a leader thinks. We have spoken enough, right? So now let me play the video. So now, friends, the next point that we are going to discuss is, now that you have understood what is leadership and the importance of leadership in an organization, why a manager should inculcate leadership qualities, right? So now next, then what are these qualities? That's the next natural question, no? What are the what are the qualities of a leader? I've already spoken quite a few things. Then also, if, as you can see in the slide here, I've listed a lot of things. I'll only give a brief summary of all that has been given here because I've already spoken about it. So when you read the points in the slide, you'll be able to correlate. For example, he should have a vision and foresight. I mean, he is able to think much before others and ahead of others, right? So now, to understand something, what can be done, what cannot be done, he should have a knowledge of the stuff that he is talking about. And then if he takes the decision to implement things, so he should be a responsible person who will start from envisioning it, then find testing its feasibility. Then once he decides to implement it, he should be, talking to people around, first convincing the owners of the company to give him the necessary sanctions, fine, and then convincing the people. So he should be responsible, he should be confident of his thoughts. Then when he is busy motivating others, he should be self-driven, no? I mean, who motivates him? He should be self-driven. And then when he talks to the management, he should have a different way of talking to convince them. When he's talking to the employees, he should have a different way of talking. So he should be a versatile communicator, है ना? And then he should be comfortable in writing emails, in phone calls, calling a meeting and addressing many people together, and equally comfortable on a one-on-one talk. So all kinds of communication, he should be good. He should be a versatile communicator. So now when he's analyzing whether his dream can be converted into a reality, what are the steps? At every step he has to think logically, have a good knowledge of those things, as well as have very good analytical abilities, right? So beyond that, if you are talking now about the teammates, as I said, he should have a good understanding of the abilities of his teammates, whether those who are there, whether they are good enough, or others should be hired also. Also, they should be given some training. So these are the things that he needs to know. And he should be, empathetic towards them. If they are stuck somewhere, he should be helpful. He should understand. Otherwise, one, their personal goals, personal happiness will suffer, because of which he may lose an employee. Second, it will reflect in the quality of the work done. So he should be empathetic towards his people. And then he should be very caring, understanding, sensitive, observant, perceptive, and he should be mostly fair to all of them. So one is about his goal, one is about his abilities, and other is about his understanding and attitude towards the people. These are three kinds of categories of qualities of a leader that a leader, I mean, qualities, these categories of three kinds that a leader should imbibe, if I may put it this way. Okay, so now to move on. So to move on, in continuation with what we were doing earlier, now on your screen, as you can see, there is a slide showing you some points more on leadership ethics. Ethics means, you should be conducting yourself in a way that people should feel like trusting you. You are reliable in many terms. One is in your thoughts, you are logical, you make sense, your thoughts are realistic, even if it is ahead of our time, even if it is being conceptualized before it has become a reality in the real world. Okay. People should, when you are influencing them, how are you influencing them? You can influence them only when what you speak makes sense to them. So you should be uh, convincing in terms of there should be a lot of logic in what you are saying. One. Second, as a person, you should be above board. Your thoughts, your intentions should not be questioned. आपको देख के the way you conduct yourself, you should come across as a very honest, sincere, committed person. I mean, the dream is yours. You convince these people to start working, and once you give them work, and you get, disappear, go somewhere else, or you lose your focus, this should not happen. And they should have that faith in you that this person is going to be there with us till the end. So that is being committed, your integrity is relied on, it is not questioned. So these are all ethics. Then you should be, uh, fair with them, but very open with them. When they're working, you should give a feedback there and there, and it should be open. It should not be at the end of the project you're telling that you should have done this. Then they will say, why didn't you tell us on time? We could have corrected ourselves. So they should feel that you are there with them always as a friend, guide, philosopher. That is a big boost, that like a big brother, somebody is there to take care. So then he should be somebody who should, irrespective of the designation of the person, everybody should be, he treats everyone with equal respect and dignity, that each one is doing something which is important for the entire project, for the company. So each one should be respected, whether he's the watchman, whether he's the CEO, whether he's the one who does the job of photocopying for the other people, whatever. These are all hypothetical examples, but nevertheless, so that means he has to be very mature, very observant. He cannot react. He has to control other people's reactions and frayed nerves, right? So, and this all cannot be faked for long. He should genuinely think that way. That should be his way of thinking. So when I have been using this term inculcate, I mean that gradually अपनी सोच को इस तरह चेंज कीजिए कि ये अच्छा है, ये सही है, ये maturity का निशानी है. These are all required to become a good leader. So gradually I'll change my thinking. The way you change your thinking, it will reflect in your conduct. So these all are ethics. Ethics means work values. So if you are a person with good ethics, you are going to last somewhere long term. People will value you, appreciate you. And आज के ठग के ज़माने में we need people who are sincere and upfront and can be relied upon. So of course, and then you should be somebody that anybody can come to you anytime they want. You should be a welcoming person, not throw attitude. That's also very important, right? So now to move on to the next slide, let's see what lies ahead. Next, like in anything else in life, there are challenges everywhere. Fine. So when you are a leader, you have to handle so many kinds of people everywhere, the management, the employees, and so many others. And each one is of a different kind. है ना? So in this kind of things, challenges are bound to come. You are trying to say something that is nice and useful, people are not willing to listen, or they are not getting you, they are reacting before they have heard you and understood you, because these are all new ideas. At times their ego may come in the way. Why should he come and explain? Why should we work for his goals? So every minute of the time, managing every individual and keeping them every minute committed in line to the task or the project that you people have started, that's a very, very difficult task. It is so easy to say, it is so difficult to do at every point of time, day in and day out, every day, right? So challenges are bound to come. So there are some internal challenges because of the employees, and there are some external challenges. So if I talk about the internal challenges, it is mostly, like having everybody should have faith in you. Getting everybody's faith is not easy. One person, you have to work so hard to convince one person. When it is so many people together, obviously any moment anybody can, just stop listening to you. Not because they want to create a problem, but sometimes they do, but primarily because maybe they have lost faith, they are not convinced anymore. And you will say, yesterday you were convinced. He may say, yes, I was, but today I think I will revise my opinion. So when it comes to human beings, anything can change any minute. Everything is so dynamic. So earning every member's faith every day for every point of time is a very difficult job. That's one challenge. Second thing, when these employees fight amongst each other, work gets stalled. So how to resolve the conflict, how to make them come to a point of solution discussion where it is mutually beneficial for both, and how to make the atmosphere congenial so that they get happy and they start working back. It's very difficult. You should be on the spot then and there. You should not let those conflicts, flare up and expand. I mean, so you should be there every day. So then, at times, not just for this conflict, even in other cases, when people are pitching in, their ego may come in that, why are you not taking my suggestion? So maybe that person's suggestion is not very, logically acceptable. So in that case, the point is how to take what is sensible when you're inviting others to brainstorm, and how to make some sense out of the solution that you're making, or rather choosing going for a sensible solution, yet not offending the feelings of those whose suggestions you asked for but you did not accept. It's all about, managing the emotions. It's tough. It's tough. And then there are some external challenges also, when clients give you work to do but they don't pay you. If the management does not get money is starts becoming scarce, the employees are not getting paid. If at all somebody has to sacrifice, the leader or the manager has to sacrifice his salary first, if he's actually behaving like a leader and takes care of his own people, then those people should, the labor class people should be paid first. Labor class can be skilled, less skilled, that is important. Those who are depending on salary, they are working, they should be paid first. And when money is scarce, when there are not enough projects, then the company is in trouble. So life is like that. Now, everything cannot be sorted, but problems keep on coming, right? So there are so many internal and external challenges. I just gave a few examples. When you open a book, you get to know more, right? This is about giving a general outline of the things, what is leadership and what it entails, and what are the factors involved in being a leader and handling things as a leader. So now let's move on to the next slide, right? So friends, now as the slide says, so now how to be a good leader. So this is basically summarizing all that we have been speaking so far. I'm again listing down the leadership skills that a leader, as I had promised at the beginning, that at the end, once we have understood the role, the importance and other things, we will list down what are the skills. This should answer your query, no? So this slide, you can take a screenshot of it or a picture, whatever you want. That is just a recapitulation, but together I have listed down all the qualities that you need to, either if you have it, you need to polish it. If you don't have it, you have to imbibe it, inculcate it, and practice it, right? So here is a list. It starts with something like, a leader should be, essential leadership skills are, he should be a visionary, he should be a great motivator. And then now there is something called delegation. Okay. So before that, how do you motivate people? One is by giving good salary, fine, but every day you cannot change the salary of a person. So at times recognitions, कुछ नहीं, एक मीटिंग में किसी का नाम लेके उसका good work acknowledge करना, that is recognition. कभी कभी in a contest or for meeting some exceptional deadlines or doing something under extreme pressure, they should be rewarded. So these are some other kinds of motivation I'm talking of. Then, as I said, he should be a keen observer and he should be a good analyst. That will help him become a good delegator. Delegator means, he cannot do all the tasks himself. Why does he need a team then? And then it is perfectly sensible to employ these people who have those abilities and they have been recruited, right? So the question comes here is, what can he do to delegate? The idea is he should be observant. He should see whose skills lie where. Okay. And then he should prioritize the tasks. He divide the task into many parts and prioritize them, and then match the following with the skill, the task. First things first, and then out of those first, which one should go to whom depends on the skill. Okay, so this is a bit about how delegation should be done and is usually done. So You cannot start observing people the moment you have decided to delegate. It should be a continuous process happening from much before. Okay, so that knowledge will help you realize who is good in what, and then once you prioritize, you should know which job should go to whom. That is typically how it is, right? So after that, obviously, see, when he was a visionary, he envisioned something new. Then he had to analyze and realize this is feasible, it can be converted into a reality, so it is worth investing money and time and employing people. So then he has to design a model, of course with inputs from others, as I said. So this is logic, analysis, but lots of creativity also. And then if he starts a project, he should be as I said, he should be self-motivated, he should be responsible that he starts it, he should be responsible for his own conduct, and he should be responsible for everyone around him. So he has to oversee the activities of the other employees also. He has to train them adequately, and if somebody is falling short, any new one is recruited, he has to train him afresh. If somebody has been trained but has forgotten or needs more help, he has to notice that also. He, as I said, he should be very keen observer, right? And then it should be that his every day he leads by example. So his gestures, postures, activities should show that he is the first one to be committed. So he's not going to leave the goals halfway, that you people start working on it and then I'll go and relax or I'll get into something else. So he can delegate a part of the job, but he's involved in the project. And from his gestures, postures, talk, involvement, it is clear that he is committed and he should stay committed till the end. So he has to be a very hardworking person, both in terms of knowledge. He has to take care. One employee does one work and he leaves when his time is up for the day. But he has to take care of everybody. He has to maybe keep people back while if there is a need for overtime in case of any breakdown or something. So he has to take decisions. He has to keep an eye on all the employees, who has to be kept back, who has to go. If there are shifts, who should come on which shift, and that should depend on their kind of task and their abilities, of course. So these are all part of scheduling and delegating. These managerial terms come as you go ahead, and when you open a book and when you proceed ahead in other semesters, you are going to, once a concept is clear, as I said, just learning the terminology is not a difficult thing. So uh, he leads by example. So he should be sincere, he should be hardworking, he should be committed, he should be responsible for himself and the others. He should be self-motivated. Only then he can motivate others. And of course, then as we were telling, so he doesn't give up because of challenges. So he should be somebody who is open to taking challenges and risks, because he is the one who has seen something before the others. So, as if I give you an example, space research, as you know, they are going to what? Many a time they fail, है ना? And then they work again and they evolve. So these are all about taking risks when you're doing something for the first time, and that is typically a leader should be ready for that, more than willing. Only then he should take something new. And above all, as I just said, he should be ethical with everybody. And what is ethical, we have just discussed a few minutes back, right? So friends, I believe at least this session, I believe, has helped you get answers to a few queries of yours, which have we typically framed and laid down in the objective part of that second slide, right, where we started the session. So to sum up, a leader is not somebody who is born, he has to put in efforts and grow, right? So he has to work, he just should not look at only others, he should continuously watch himself, and wherever he's lacking, he should polish himself too. That is how he evolves gradually into a better leader, right? Now, friends, to recapitulate, I just need to underline the importance of leadership once again. These are some new things I want to share. For example, you see, there is, let's say, the owners of the company. Fine. They are normally, labor and the owners normally don't have very good relation. They are like on the opposite side of the table. Now, a leader is somebody who first, has a vision of a thing. Then after his own calculation and understanding, he goes and talks to the owners of the company, the management, and convinces them that they should take it up. Once they are convinced, they give the necessary sanction, the green signal. Now this person goes to the other people and then convinces them, and then they get enthusiastic about that. They get caught up in his enthusiasm, and they all together start working to convert this person's dream into reality. Fine. So one thing is, this person is into this person's leader's dreams. So the management or the owners are involved in the leader's dream, and these people are busy converting that into a reality. So for once, these two people are not at loggerheads, they are both working for something common. Second, let's say there is a company which has started producing something and is selling in the market, and their products are very well accepted. Now from here where to how to grow, there a leader is very essential, very helpful. I'm lost, I don't know where next, and a leader comes and gives me idea. Okay, now next we can do this before others. It has not been done, but it can be done. So a leader is giving me a direction how to expand, how to move ahead further, right? So this owner, the management, is very much indebted to the leader and is responsible, or rather dependent on the leader. And then for new work to, there's something, work should go on for them to, for these people to continue to be employed. So because of him, more employment is, or I mean, scope for work is generated, because of which they continue to get employed. So point I'm trying to make is, leader gives them idea how to keep the uh, company running. So that is why he's so important both to the management as to the employees. So this is a very beautiful, very important thing. Every day something new, with so you're meeting with so many kinds of people, each with different and it's different kinds of problems, different kinds of challenges, but different kinds of rewards also. When you coach somebody and he from a less level, he goes up to a much better level, you are so happy to see his growth and to have contributed in his growth. And then when your dream projects gets becomes a reality, and you are able to present it to the management and they are able to implement it, that amount of happiness has nothing to do with the salary that you draw there. And gradually, as you grow as a leader, you become an innovator, right? You are innovating new things in the world. That is how civilization and all kinds of inventions are happening in the world. And then there comes a time when you are not dependent on the company. You have a brand of your own, you have your own vision, goal, you can start your own company, and you can be an asset to wherever you work, whether for your own company or anybody else's. People recognize you for your work and not for the company that you work for. I mean, it's a very covetous position and a big scope of growth. So start polishing those skills, because in any case, at one point you will have to start taking charge of a department once you start working after a few years. So why just remain a manager? Become a leader. So on that note, let's move on to the next slide. As you can see, I've listed down the names of a few websites and a few books. You can pick up any author, and I've suggested the names of few authors. These are standard gurus of management, and once you start studying them, you get a comprehensive knowledge. Uh, Beyond that, you can always check on the net, anything, fine. So these are a few references. And now, right friends, so here we come to the end of the presentation. I hope this discourse and this session has been of some value to you and you have benefited to some extent. Learning is a growing process, so carry on the journey from here on. Wish you all the best. Thank you.